is totally fine. I guess getting distracted technically is a technical difficulty, but that's cool. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Yes. Went for a ski, had some work, went to the dentist, had a
Very
clean bill of dental health.
excellent. All white activities. Very nice. So I guess we have a lot to talk about tonight. Shocker. Trump wants to put boots on the ground in Gaza. Who saw that coming?
Oh, for real? I thought I mean he was just spitballing, you
I
know.
mean, he could be. That's really what it could be. He could just be talking shit, but like, I don't know. I guess we'll see.
When the camera panned over or like people showed like the reaction of Netanyahu who's like,
He's like,
"What?"
what? But I mean, if here's the thing, if we're doing it for Israel, it's fucking gay. If we're just like, if this is our new Arrakis, then I'm actually like on board with this because you posted the meme about how Donald is going to get assassinated and Baron Trump will rise from the sands and become our Lisan al Gaib.
Honestly, like did you check the date on that tweet?
Yeah, it was. This is
It
an
was
old
March
meme. This is
of 2024.
yeah.
And it's like, wait, now this is like kind of in the table where like,
hmm It's now
we have
plausibility. We're like, huh, okay, this could happen. A series of events could lead to this.
there's a domino that could fall.
hmm
Or there's several dominoes that could fall that would lead to this event. Um yeah,
No,
it's wild stuff. I
wow.
don't think that the US will follow through. I feel
I
like
don't either.
even the America First like backlash is already too high.
Mm,
What will likely happen is that the US will fund a bunch, like the DoD is going to fund a bunch of PMCs
mm.
to secure Gaza basically. And then they're going to subcontract out a bunch of construction shit and it's going to be like some new boondoggle um that goes absolutely nowhere.
I am
Um
very excited to see a big gold skyscraper right in the middle of the Gaza Strip. I think it's going to look fantastic.
yeah, props if you can get it done. I mean, people have said like, this would be prime real estate if it wasn't for, everybody that lives in or near or around it
Mhm.
on both sides.
But I
You
mean,
feel me?
clearly, what the Palestinians and the Israelis need is they together need to go to the new Trump Gaza hotel and just blow some money on a craps table or some roulette or something like that. Just gamble. Just live life, have some beer. Like, oh shit, oh, you guys can't have beer. That's okay. The Jews can. You gonna let the Jews fucking outdrink you? No, I don't think so.
They're gonna just like, why can't they just like not have pork together? That sounds
Exactly.
like a
Yeah,
great
exactly.
activity to bond over.
You've got chicken tacos, you've got beef tacos, no pork tacos here. It's all safe, guys. And yeah, it's tacos. Of course, it's fucking tacos because it's catered by the DoD.
No cheese
No
on the
cheese.
kosher tacos.
Right. Yeah. So no, no, you can. So what you got to do is the beef
Oh, it's got to be
tacos.
like goat cheese
It's
on
got to be
beef,
goat
or
cheese on beef. The chicken. I mean, there's no fucking chicken milk,
you.
so that's whatever. But
Yeah, you can have regular milk cheese
yeah.
on chicken.
hmm
That works. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Here
Yeah.
on the
It's all
altar,
coming
we keep
together.
it. We keep it 100% kosher on the altar, folks. Like
No shellfish
no
for either,
shellfish.
right?
No shellfish, which is a shame because like lobster's fucking great, man, and like just clams, oysters. Oh,
How could it be a Trump hotel without steak and lobster?
seriously. Also, I mean
I don't know
oysters.
what's on
If
the menu at normal Trump hotels, but that seems like something they would do.
all the steaks you get, you have to get it well done. It's
Oh
served with it's
no.
served with ketchup. No, I would imagine though, like oysters have to be a pretty big menu item at the Trump hotels. I mean, being an aphrodisiac, supposedly
And oysters are great.
they are.
Like
They're really good.
so. Yeah, that's one of the
Yeah.
main drawbacks of living in the mountains. Is we don't get oysters.
No, I mean, we also don't like if there's a tsunami, we'll be okay. Like we'll all of a sudden have beachfront property, and then within like our children's children will get oysters, which will be
Yeah.
great. So we're ahead of the game there. But no, right now If you want seafood, you got to have it fucking flown in.
Increase climate change.
Yes.
Make the inland seaway
Mhm.
exist again.
Make the Great Salt Lake Basin a lake again, a
Yeah.
true ocean.
Make it, yeah, inland ocean. I want to have fresh seafood
Mm.
from just over the way.
And
That'd
if
be
that means
nice.
California has to go, then so be it. But on that note,
Yeah.
folks, I'm going to
We're doing
throw.
the wrong kind of climate change. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
We need to create the seas inland, and then we need to raise up the old cities from ancient times. Raise Atlantis.
mhm.
We need to sink Los Angeles,
We need to return the
and then
obelisk to the elephants, and Atlantis will rise.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
I'm going to play the intro, folks, and we're going to kick it off because got to do the intro. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Altar. This is episode number, what episode number is it now? 165. I'm going to check that number count. I'm going to make sure. I feel like we've been like middle 160s for a minute now. Maybe I'm just counting the episodes wrong, but right now, 165. Excuse me. Make Israel great again. Or at least that's what Trump was claiming he was going to do, making a very bold and out of nowhere promise to resettle the Palestinians and occupy and develop the Gaza Strip.
Yeah, honestly, I do you think, as I posed in the chat or the Tumblr earlier, do you think Gaza State will be an SEC or a Big Ten team?
I think it'll be Big Ten.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they will be the most south and east
Mm-hmm.
of anywhere in the U.S. Um, in fact, since they're past the prime meridian, they might almost be west again.
Technically, oh,
They are in the eastern hemisphere, so if it
yeah.
doesn't get more east than that, like, I mean, come on, Hawaii's still in the western hemisphere.
Yeah.
You want to divide it up? I
Yeah,
don't know.
man. When you're on a globe, it doesn't get more east than west. So,
I got globe right here.
sorry.
I gotta figure this shit out. What the fuck are we talking
Hang on.
about?
Let me go make. Hang on. I'm gonna go post that. You figure that out. We're live shit posting here, folks. We're doing this live.
Yeah. So that was a hell of a shit post. What other news did you see? Because I pick up that you caught the Israel news.
That was
but,
the big thing. Like there were some other things, I guess. Oh, there was the whole tariff dance that was going on with Mexico and Canada, which was kind of interesting because both countries were essentially putting up some token pressure, and then we're like, all right, so we're both agreeing to put 10,000 National Guard troops on the border in order to combat drug trafficking and all of this other shit. But there really wasn't much in the way of like a back and forth. It was like a day per country. Like Monday was Mexico, Tuesday was Canada.
Like 24 hours.
Yeah, they folded immediately.
36 hours.
Where is
Like Cuba or Colombia? It was Colombia took like all of like 50 minutes
pretty
to
much.
fold. It was hilarious because like you saw like these Twitter lefty pundits like Harry Sisson like talking about like, oh, it's gonna hurt the US so much, just before Valentine's Day, no Colombian flowers, that's where all our flowers are imported from. And then like it was like, hey buddy, I hate to inform you, but they've already capitulated to all the terms and even offered the presidential plane.
Yeah, exactly. The Colombian president's plane is already on its way back to the U.S. to pick up more immigrants to bring back to Colombia. They're dropping off flowers as a measure of goodwill. You lost. Sorry.
Like I know things are moving so fast. It's
yeah,
like hard to keep up.
there were the ones with the Canadian ones too, where all these like Canada's not just gonna sit by and oh no, it's too late. No, Trudeau already folded. It's done. It's done. It's over with. And they're just like, oh, well, they're just agreeing to do something they already agreed to do. And it's like, yeah, but they weren't doing it. Now they actually have to. Which, again, we're not pro tariff on this podcast, and I'm not, defending this, but like, they're doing stuff like.
I I would be interested. Like somebody was talking about, like, oh, they only seized like 42 pounds of fentanyl.
That's a shitload
Um,
of fucking deaths, man. That's
no,
like
that's enough to like poison 10 million people.
exactly. Like it
Like
didn't
kill them.
take. Yeah. Oh my god.
And then like there was a great post that was like, oh yeah, like in Canada you'll see all the time, like there's some guy working like a blue collar job, and he has like, Canadian houses cost millions of dollars
Mhm.
compared to oh, Matt's in the chat.
Oh no, that's
Whatever.
me. That's me.
Okay.
Let
um
me actually switch that over. I wouldn't want to be confused for the foot sniffer.
uh,
Excuse me.
um but like apparently there's like, a non-zero number of people who,
Millions of dollars.
yeah, they're just like muling fentanyl and other drugs from Canada,
Mhm.
because it's much looser border than even Mexico is, and they make a ridiculous amount of money doing it,
Mhm.
and then that money has to go somewhere, and that somewhere is the Canadian real estate market, like, which is already like on steroids, like Ponzi scheme, because like you're importing like a quarter of your population, and
Mhm.
like there's so much little livable land in Canada that's really worth developing to begin with.
Canada also has a
Um,
lot of like foreign investors from China, especially who will literally
oh
just come
yeah,
and
they don't.
buy property. They just use it as like like a sink for their money. It's like, okay, this isn't in China, so the CCP can't get to it, and it appreciates with value. And it's like, oh great, now I can't buy a house because Chang fucking bought my entire neighborhood. What the fuck am I supposed to do?
Well, I think the thing is that by proxy of Hong Kong, right? Because like Hong Kong used to be Commonwealth, so like if you
Mhm.
have a Commonwealth passport, like moving and owning property in Canada is not as big of a hurdle. But then like Hong Kong's now part of China,
Exactly.
and then like but like Hong Kong's much more developed than the rest of China, so like
Mhm.
people are trying to get out, which like I don't blame them for. But like you suddenly have like 2 million people who are all like, yeah, I'm trying to like dump $2 million into the Canadian real estate market. They're doing the same thing in Australia too.
Yep.
Like Australia, not only is there, money, like monopoly money, basically like completely worthless. But yeah, there's like a ton of foreign investment from like former Commonwealth countries, like trying to buy up all the housing, which again, Australia is like 99% desert basically, or
Yeah.
like not land you want to build on, because it's like it's either swamp or desert. There's either giant scorpions or giant spiders, and it's just not where you want to be.
Exactly.
So yeah, New Zealand's great though.
New Zealand's great. New Zealand's fantastic. Um, where was I gonna go with this?
Oh,
Oh,
that just that. Yeah, Canada and the tariff
yeah.
situation. What other highlight item had you seen? Because I have one
Oh
in mind, but
no,
I
you
want
bring
to
it up.
see
I
what.
actually I had a list, so I need to check my list. But please bring yours up.
Okay, have you seen Doge's works in the last
Oh, that was
week
the
or
other
so?
thing. Yes, the Doge going after specifically the USAID or USAID, whatever. That's a
No,
big
it's
thing.
not AID. It's AIDS.
AIDS, AIDS, US AIDS, yes,
USAIDs.
US AIDS, because we were giving it to all of these countries and infecting them from within. But no, I did see like just ridiculous amounts of money. Oh, specifically, and I specifically wanted to, okay, yeah. Okay, so the BBC, Politico, and like several other outlets suddenly are having issues paying their employees and staying afloat because they're no longer getting the US AIDS money. The spigot has been turned off. And also,
No,
you have what?
well, I was gonna say like it's absolutely hilarious with the political situation. The BBC was like 9% of their funding,
Mm-hmm,
but like so they're like, oh yeah, well we can figure it out, something,
mm-hmm.
but it's hilarious because it's like, why is U.S. foreign aid development going to ostensibly a very rich country? Are we
Mm-hmm.
calling Britain poor by
I guess.
subsidizing their media?
I
Like,
guess.
would the British not feel embarrassed that the U.S. government has to subsidize their state media that's already like they're forced at gunpoint to, or I should say, Bobby point
Bobby point.
to fun or whatever. Like, I would be so embarrassed if like
Oh,
I'm like, oh yeah, we're the British, Commonwealth British Empire. Oh, by the way, our state media is actually like a US CIA op.
that we should mandate, like, if we're not, I mean, I suppose they've already like cut that for the BBC, but like if they want it back, there should have to be a little American flag in the corner of every single broadcast that says paid for and owned by the United States of America.
Well, okay, yeah, we need to retroactively go back and on YouTube, you know how like on RT stories or
Mm,
whatever, there'd always be like
a
a
little.
disclaimer. Russia Today is state-owned or state-sponsored media from
Mm,
the Russian government or whatever. It's like they don't do that for NPR or BBC even. But it's like now you got to put it on Reuters and Politico and shit like that. But like Politico legitimately like missed payroll for their whole
yeah.
thing. And they're like, "Oh no, 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 no. We just have a lot of subscriptions from the US federal government." Like they really find our reporting that important, right? And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I guess maybe it's not state sponsored media, but if you can't pay your employees unless you have subscriptions that only come from the federal government, what
Hmm.
are you at that point? Like it's just a shell game. Like they're like, oh, you know, and like and each of these individual offices, they're paying $10,000 a year. Like in the BLM office over in some district in Idaho,
Mm.
like each individual like federal office has a $10,000 Politico subscription. Like what up to the minute news is so important that every federal government employee needs to know on a $10,000 per year basis. Like we're talking $30 a day or whatever.
Mm.
Like in news from Politico. Are you sure? Per office?
I mean,
Like
that's also a good way
50
to
times
ensure.
over?
That's a good way to ensure that, like, so if it's a, I'm not saying it's above board, but let's say it's a good way to ensure that, like, all members of whatever government you want are all being fed the same kind of news. So there is that.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Okay.
don't buy it actually. Like, they're not like, okay, let's start our morning Politico meetings. But, mm,
No,
yeah.
but like the obvious truth is that they found a legal way, on paper at least, to
Mm,
transfer something like half $8 million to a news corporation that then doesn't have to say they're state-sponsored media. And it's
mm.
like did the employees like wake up sometime in the last day or two and were just like, oh wait, like maybe I shouldn't be writing articles about how like I mean, shit. Like, we should try and find like some top hits of Politico in the last few years.
Why? Oh God. Okay,
Politico.
let's see. Worst Politico. Another thing I was gonna say too is there is a list of like ridiculous shit that the U.S. AIDS was funding. Like there was one thing where there were like actual like HIV/AIDS support groups that were being like funded across various countries, and those support groups were being used to like attempt to like influence the government.
Well, okay, so like people should be completely real about this. The JFK founded USAIDs back in the day to consolidate all of the weird, different foreign influence programs that the CIA was running. Okay. And even to this day, like it's tacitly acknowledged that like yeah it's an influence op. It's not there to like feed children just because we want to feed children. It's there to feed children so that the communists don't do it originally.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's we got to feed children so American empire can get away with whatever they want, or now they have some sympathetic paid class of people in a
Mm-hmm.
government. Like the US AIDS is the way that they funnel money to do the color revolutions in Eastern Europe. It's the way they do overthrows of governments in Central America. Like Bolivia and El Salvador were like, we are banning US AIDS from our countries because they are trying to overthrow the government. Like we've looked into their operations. Like, do you really think they're spending millions of dollars on like, you know, advancing transgenderism in Uganda or whatever? No, they're trying. They're building a fucking militia, and they're gonna fucking take over the government.
The list.
the
I like the one there was. It was like the reasons they give for the amounts of money. It's like $37,000 for a pro DEI musical in Ireland. Just absolutely ridiculous shit. It's like it sounds ridiculous, and it's almost like it wants you to get mad and be like, "Oh, I can't believe we're wasting money." But no, like you said, it's like, I mean, maybe not. They're trying to overthrow the Irish fucking government, unless they were attempting to force the Irish unification a little bit early last year. But I mean, they're using it, like you said, to like overthrow local fucking governments. Oh man, I had a better train of thought. I'm spacing
Yeah,
on it.
no. So like somebody made like a little flow chart here where like USA is like dispensing money through the Institute for the Study of War.
Mm.
And it's like what am I reading here? That's 10,000 million, $17 billion. And there's let me open this image a little larger. So yeah, like there's the National Endowment for Democracy, the Internews Network, the East West Management Institute, Freedom House, Pact Incorporated, Scholars at Risk, University of Pittsburgh, World Resources Institute, Save the Children Federation, Global Communities, National Democratic Institute, uh, Consortium for Elections, the World Vision Incorporated, Kind Incorporated, Battelle Memorial Institute, Rockefeller Philanthropy, Vanderbilt Environmental Defense Fund Incorporated, Tide Center, the Board Trustees of Leland, Community Foundations of Texas, New America Foundation, Schwab Charitable Fund, Tides Foundation, I already said that one, San Diego Foundation, Columbus Federation, Community Federation of New Jersey, Fidelity Investments Charitable Gift Fund, PayPal Charitable Gift Fund, Global Giving Foundation, Network for Good, Institute for the Study of War. And like you get all this money just like flowing between all these shell things. And it's like, oh, you look at who's on the board of all this stuff. And like 9 times out of 10, it's like Bill Crystal or Chelsea Clinton or
Yeah,
somebody like this. They're making millions of dollars at nonprofits that are almost entirely, charities, 501c3s that are entirely taxpayer funded. So like the thing is like this might be like the linchpin. It's universal basic income, but for like Marxist agitators that secretly run the government for the last like 60 years.
yeah.
What it could be, you know, we'll see if they dig deeper or if it's just a frame job, but I doubt it. Like it makes so much sense on a surface level that you get like, oh, there's no jobs at the basket weaving factory or the feminist basket weaving factory. But no, there's plenty of jobs at the feminist basket weaving, underwater basket weaving factory. It's just like it's funded as a like play in, Senegal. And like, sure, that person's collecting salary and they're doing some basically no-show job for some, very nebulous thing that you can just, you know, I just, it makes sense. Now, I'd like to see it all like proved out and convicted at some point. But if they just cut off the money and then all of a sudden all these news organizations like just vaporwave disappear, the fact that like Democrat Congressmen people are like this upset about it
Mm-hmm.
and they keep talking about like starving kids and stuff like that, and it's like, you really think the USA was into that? Like, look at the tents in Afghanistan that the Taliban use or Syria uses.
Mm-hmm.
The Al Jolani's militiamen are in USA tents.
I saw that picture. Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, you know
Like,
what?
are we really that naive? Like, oh, oh yeah, the U.S. We're the evil empire funding the genocide in Israel for the last, whatever it's been 2 years at this point or a year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
and we're the evil empire that was doing taking over these South American governments and won't let the socialists take power and stuff like that when it's but oh yeah, all US aid is completely unambiguously a good thing.
Mm.
The CIA's never used it as a front for
No, of course
anything.
not. Of course not. Not at all. So wasn't there? I will have to actually look this up. I don't know if it was from U.S. Aid specifically, but I think there was something from U.S. Aid as well that like between 2015 and 2019 there was funding being sent to like the Wuhan laboratory that was dealing with COVID, and Fauci was a part of it. And it also just happens to coincide with like the period of time that Biden pardoned Fauci. 2015 to 2019 specifically, I think. Let me see if I can find this.
Yeah,
Let me find this.
it's fuck, it's
Oh man.
it's a bunch of mediocre white boys trying to take over the government and like end affirmative action. It's like, don't you want this kid on your team? He would have been on your team. Like this kid was on your team for 60 years.
So
And then
we're gonna
like
have to
Joe
actually
Rogan was on your team for 30 years and you alienated him.
we're gonna have to go back over this point. There has been some fucking issue with Handbrake lately where it will jump out of the main podcast view and will cut the fucking feed. So somebody sent me a message and let me know, and I got it fixed now. But the last couple minutes, I don't think we fucking got, which is a fucking shame.
Sorry.
No, no, dude, I should be apologizing. I'm helming this ship, and this keeps fucking
Okay.
happening. But
We got 4 people still on the live stream right now.
okay, that's good. This is good.
Nobody dropped who was live streaming it. So okay.
Yeah,
Okay, we could just resume with like these.
yeah.
I don't know. There seems like there's some whiz kids. Everybody's got like the. There's gonna be some people with some seedy,
Mm-hmm.
posts on social media, some alts and anons that they're using,
Mm.
and they're gonna try and cancel them. Like we would be probably included in a group
I
like
was gonna
this.
say, like, I thought about that sometimes. What if I ever became, God forbid, no, some sort of public-ish celebrity because of political things or whatever? Like everyone going through all of my social media posts, with the exception of what I post on Tumblr, I think I'd mostly be okay. Like my Facebook's pretty well sanitized. Instagram, I just post pictures of bullshit I do in my life. Like I don't actually post memes, so I don't really have an issue there. But if they get a hold of my Tumblr, I'm fucked. Absolutely fucked. They will find everything.
I don't feel like my Tumblr's like that bad. Like I out of everyone, I've never been banned.
Well, that's
So
exactly it, man. Like they're gonna find my dead name post, and it's gonna be all downhill from there. Like
yeah, maybe it's fine.
I'll
It's certainly spicy, but I don't think
I mean, maybe
anything I've
not. Maybe
posted.
not. Well, maybe it wouldn't be so bad because it is at least funny. If the joke you make is at least funny, there's at least some mercy. But if it's really just tasteless, then you just get dogpiled.
I mean, it's just really weird to grow up as a Colorado kid
Mm.
and like the most famous people out of Colorado are the South Park guys. And like if you have the same sense of humor as the South Park guys, like, oh, you're like rich and famous. But like, if you like on your own time privately had that sense of humor on a account that is not linked to your name,
Mm.
you know, I mean, at least a few years ago, like, oh, it'd be really questionable, right? Like if a guy just shared like South Park memes and clips, right? Like a show that's showed on Comedy Central and HBO for like millions of viewers, and like, oh, if he's just like happens to enjoy like South Park, humor, like I bet like a lot of dudes could not have a corporate job with that. Like if they posted on their Facebook feed, they're like, oh,
Mm.
look at this funny joke Cartman made. Like, isn't it funny? Cartman's racist or something like that.
Mm. Oh, look at Cartman. There he goes, marching down the street dressed like Hitler. Haha, that scam.
But like, um, yeah, I hope we're out of that era. It's like the same reason I think like in-person dating,
Mm.
which I wanted to talk to you a little bit
Oh,
about, has like gone down the toilet.
it really
Is
has.
that
So
there's a
I.
camera everywhere, there's
Mm.
social media everywhere, and it's like the eye of fucking Sauron on everyone all the time that like you can't like ask a girl out in public lest you become a sexual predator or something like that. I think that's
It's
internally what goes on in most Zoomers' heads, at
So,
least.
assumers, and I want to say a lot of millennials too, probably suffer from that because millennials, especially, came up during an era where, like, if you were a single dude in public, you, like, by default, were just kind of, everyone was just kind of like watching you out of the corner of your eye. And, like, God forbid, like, someone's child, like, ran up to you or some shit. Like, it was just one of those times where you couldn't really, like, you were just always scoped out as being weird. And it has not gotten better, like you said, with the Eye of Sauron everywhere, because you have a lot of guys who will not approach women because they're terrified of like being blasted on social media. And it's weird because I'm sure you probably browse Instagram or other shit and you see all of those like fucking social baity, like rage bait bullshit things like gender war things, and you go into the comments and you have absolute fucking morons, if they're real people and just not bots, just going back, men ain't shit, women ain't shit, like all fucking day having these backs and forth. Not that I am one to fucking talk. Y'all see my Tumblr feed. I love to cause bullshit and have back and forth. But like, there's something to be said for when you're doing it with like your face and name and posts of yourself and your family, and you're just in the fucking trenches like, I don't think so, that the gender wage gap, like fine, you're entitled to your opinion. I'm not saying like don't defend your opinion, but like you gotta realize how ridiculous that is. This is a little tangent I actually am going to go off on, because I observed the other day in an Instagram comment this whole thread between these two dudes arguing about, I don't know what it was. I think it was something gender baity. It was just like, oh, guys need to do this. And it's just like, he gets it. And it's like, no, he's a simp. And they're going back and forth. And the one guy's like, well, I have a master's degree in psychology. And the other one's like, well, I have a master's degree in blah, 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 blah. They're going back and forth. And I did not jump in because I wouldn't have been better, but I would have been like, how is it you guys keep claiming you're smart enough to have master's degrees, but like these master's degrees haven't helped you to not get into stupid arguments in Instagram comments for like an entire
You have like
day?
the least valuable time
Yeah,
I've ever witnessed out
like
of anybody. Like, dude, go look at a fucking creek. Like,
you actually, like, touch grass is not just a euphemism for you need to go outside more. You need to go outside and like bend down and just double palm the grass and just rub it around and just be like, oh, all right,
no,
yeah,
I reposted grass is not enough. You need biodiversity. Okay, go
Yeah.
to the woods.
Yes.
Go to a park. There needs to be at least two species of plant, all right, and two types of terrain,
Yeah.
whether it's a rock and grass or creek and grass. Okay, just some sort of variation. And you sit there and look at it and think about it and realize that you are spending your fucking life staring at a little box, arguing with somebody about shit that does not matter.
Yeah.
Your one and only precious life, unless you believe in reincarnation.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, in which case, if you're down with like, yeah, man, like in the next life, I'll see you again. I'll see you in the fucking trenches on Instagram, bro. We're gonna argue about whether or not it's right to split the first bill on the date. Like, why? This is the other thing too. It's like the pointless things you choose to argue about. I'm not saying like if it's a post about like, oh, fuck geopolitics or something, like it's like, oh, should this thing happen in the Middle East, and like you're giving a passionate explanation for it. It's just not worth it, man. It's just not. It's Instagram comments. It's just not worth your time and energy. And again, this is, hi, I'm Mr. Goes back and forth all day on Tumblr having the dumbest arguments sometimes. It's not good for you, man. Like, for all said and done, what I should probably do is just drink heavier. Like, in terms of the toll it takes on my life, because you'd enjoy that more. You get more out of it. Like, you don't get all aggravated, and you're not like trying to defend your master's degree to some.
But okay, what I was gonna get at is that like we need to bring back fucking dueling.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Because there was a high incentive not to argue about stupid shit.
Because you had to like defend your honor. Somebody had to fucking go. Like at the end of the day, somebody had to go.
So it's like, okay, I'm just gonna not broach this or like push this button because like it's not worth it, man.
Exactly.
Like they would still kill each other over stupid shit. They were trying to have like a macho thing is what it really came down to. But like, yeah, if people could like legally challenge each other to combat like over the internet, if it was truly PvP enabled, like we'd see a lot less stupid shit. Honestly, we need to. This is the problem with the subsidization of infrastructure. Okay, we need to start charging more for mail. Okay, because there's way too much fucking junk mail.
For real.
And then we need to fucking start charging for emails. All right, there's way too much fucking email. I don't care if like at the end of the year I got like a $12, invoice from fucking Google that I had to be like, oh, okay, I'll pay my email bill for the year because I sent, 20 200 emails or whatever. But like the amount of spam you get, and then the same thing's true for like social media. Like, it's ad revenue,
Mhm.
interaction based, right? Like if there was social media you subscribe to, or like it cost money to post or reply to shit, like imagine how much better the comments section would be. Now, the opposite is true for Tumblr, right? Because
Mhm.
Tumblr, there is a system where you pay to advertise your posts, right?
To people
And
against their will,
you
whether
are
they want to or
you are
not.
very selective of the kind of person who would pay money to advertise on or to boost their post on Tumblr, is especially unhinged.
Mm.
So like that decreases the quality overall. But I stand by my point in general. We need to make it more expensive to communicate. Like people always time talk about like we need to make like tax podcast equipment at like 100%,
We,
right?
like
There's
right
too
now,
many
every
podcasts.
at the
We're
beginning of
guilty of this
every
ourselves.
at the beginning of every episode of The Altar, you and I should just have to feed like $1 to like a slot right under the fucking like webcam right here. You just all right, we got an hour. Like a fucking parking meter. You got any dimes? We gotta go back and get a shitload of dimes. Oh man, we
No,
can fix.
people
They don't should
people
hire
need to
us.
go outside, and that's what I was getting at with like my girlfriend this week. Like it's been so jarring, and like even the Trump things that like might sound good to a libertarian on the surface, like he's still doing like massive disruption
Yeah.
to the market, like, and planning in the economy, which is like a huge trigger for recessions,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like even if in the long run, like it's a good thing that there's less regulations, or like we're wasting less, money on stupid stuff. It's like you're still massively disrupting the market. Like people haven't had time to plan for any of these things. You're going to trigger a recession. Okay, maybe it's concentrated amongst government employees, but like that's still a lot of suffering that we're looking at in the near term. Like at least like when Milei took over in Argentina, he's like, oh, it's going to be shock. He advertised we are going to have shock therapy. Like Trump's like, oh, like everything's peachy. The stock market's going to go up forever. Like, and it's like it's not. It doesn't work out that way. There are costs and benefits. So, but like at the end of the day, as you always say, nothing ever happens.
Nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. Like, to go back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast, we will probably not actually see boots on the ground. At best, we're talking private military companies like Blackwater or something like that. I mean, Blackwater doesn't exist anymore, but Blackwater-esque companies operating in the Gaza Strip. I wonder if
Yeah,
any of the Ukraine LARPers will also LARP about being in Gaza. I'm sure they will.
there's like the political compass or chart, and I think there's like all you have to do is have an axis of Gaza, or Palestine, Israel,
Mm-hmm.
and Russia, Ukraine, and I think it's almost a perfect political chart. It's like authoritarian left would be Ukraine, uh, Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
Libertarian left probably also.
No, I was going to
I
say
guess.
like authoritarian left would be Ukraine, libertarian left would be Palestine, authoritarian right would be Russia, authoritarian no,
No, no,
because
no. So the thing is, like, if you're authoritarian right, you back Israel and
Israel
Russia,
and Russia, and if you're
and if
libertarian
you're
right,
authoritarian left, you back Ukraine
mm,
and Palestine. And the only axis is like libertarians will back Palestine, but if you're left or right, you'll support Ukraine versus Russia,
mm,
which I think right wing libertarians would generally be like, maybe Russia's a little provoked in this situation.
maybe.
But they, and like the axis between authoritarian right would be whether you support Israel versus Palestine, or not even support, but like you're like who's the worst bad guy
Mhm.
in those
Excuse me.
situations, because there's no good guys. Oh, you got the Kit Kat?
To grab somebody.
Show me your pussy. Oh yeah, that dark black pussy. There he is. Oh, he's so cute.
Would you come up on the
Oh, I
computer?
love
Come
him. Ah.
here. Oh. No, we don't like that, huh? Okay.
All right. My cat's asleep. I can't show you it. He came up
Well,
early in the
he's gonna
show.
learn to be a guest on the show at some point, whether he likes it or not. But it's
No, I'm glad
hilarious
he's coming
because
around. It
normally
took a
when I'm
couple
here
weeks,
on the
right?
computer, all he can do is jump up and bother me. But now he doesn't want to be on the show. That's okay.
Okay. So yeah, it's nothing ever happens.
Nothing ever happens.
If we things can happen, shitty things happen all the time, but like I don't know, first world Americans, bad things like geopolitical bad things don't happen to us.
It's just Groundhog Day every day for us. Nothing ever really happens. We wake up, we do the same shit. You are going to work tomorrow, which means nothing substantive happened. Sorry, I have a very needy child
Mm,
circling me.
mhm.
Hmm. What else did we want to cover? We still got time. Hmm.
Let me see. Yeah, Politico pleads innocent, claims tens of millions in government subscriptions is totally normal, simply a transaction.
Mm-hmm. It's always simply a transaction. I mean, Silk Road, if you think about it too, is also simply just a transaction. But that was a whole. Ross only just got out of prison, so you know.
Rubio skipping the G20 um, in South Africa for their DEI climate policies. He also accused them of expropriation of white prop, not white prop. He's just said they are expropriating people's property. Didn't really talk about how it's all one racial demographic. Former UPenn athletes sued to expunge trans swimmer Leah Thomas's records. Thing. 40 years bashing the National Endowment for Democracy.
So I
Okay.
did
DOJ.
actually get a text from Matt back when the feed cut. Like, we're fine right now, but he is watching us. He's just not here.
I see.
Yeah.
He's ankle deep,
He's ankle deep
as we
right
would
now.
call it.
Exactly. Yeah.
DOJ sues Chicago, entire state of Illinois, and local officials over sanctuary city laws. Okay, this might be a more phenomena for me than probably for you because you are out on your social media as compared to me, and I am not. So like I'm working academia, which is probably left leaning people.
Yeah.
And so like all these people I knew from like college or high school like 10 years ago or whatever, or 5 years ago or something like that, like will post like random story feeds like, oh, ICE is in our neighborhood in, East Denver or something like that, out of the blue. And it's like they even for places they like used to live, like, oh, ICE is in like doing raids right now in this neighborhood that I used to live or something like that. Have you seen that?
I've seen a couple, and it was like they weren't actually ICE raids. Like there was this one. It's like, oh, ICE detained this woman while she's buying groceries with her kids in the car, and it's like, no, there weren't kids in the car, and she was shoplifting, and like those are like normal like local sheriffs. That's not ICE, but like nice try. Like I've seen a couple of things like that, but I haven't seen legit like, oh, this is an actual ICE raid.
No, well, just because like ICE is actually operating in Denver, I
Oh.
think I've seen more of it.
Okay.
Because there's like the TDA gang, that they're trying to take down.
Oh, the
So
Eternal Landlords.
yeah. DOJ sues Chicago, entire state of Illinois, and local officials over sanctuary city laws. Interesting.
Interesting.
Border Czar expects kinetic warfare between U.S. troops and Mexican drug cartels. We haven't talked about that conflict
We should
because
a little bit.
by declaring the cartels as terrorist organizations under the authorization of use of military force on the global war of terror, which is being perpetually renewed since 2001,
Mm-hmm.
president can technically send U.S. troops to Mexico or Colombia or wherever these, so-called, cartels that they've declared are terrorists are, and we could
So
have kinetic operations against them.
Trump is essentially making the remake of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 real, because there's a couple of missions there where you are in Mexico hunting down leads on a cartel, and you even
Oh,
get to
the
use
remake.
the remake, yeah, but you get to use a
Okay.
Spectre gunship against cartel members in Mexico. It's pretty cool, pretty based.
I mean, it's been a while since I watched Sicario.
That's you got to rewatch that every once in a while. What I was
Yeah.
going to say too is my Utah senator Mike Lee was trying to put a bill through to issue letters of marque against the Mexican cartels, which I think is actually
How
great.
you do it?
That's how you do it, man. No federal funding, no U.S. troops, just some good old boys and some Ram 2500s heading south of the border to get some cartel scalps.
No, well, like, I mean, some fun, not federal startup costs,
Mm,
but actually, back in the day, if you were a privateer, they would subsidize some of your startup costs for
it's
a
true.
letter of marque.
Okay.
But they generally was about the prize money of taking them back. So like we do give them prize money for bringing in the people or
This
whatever. But
this is
yeah, we
how.
have a constitutional way to deal with non-state
Mm,
actors in foreign territory. Like it's exciting that somebody, I mean, Ron Paul brought it up. I'm glad that a senator now is proposing this. I
mm.
hope Donald Trump kind of takes it seriously. That would be really
That would be
hilarious.
funny. Him talking about like engage in piracy against the cartels. It'll be great. But
Well, part of the thing about the piracy is you got to resell the ships
yeah.
that you captured.
Mm.
Do we get to resell the drugs that we captured?
Oh please. What I was gonna say too is this is a good way for Luchador of Liberty, friend of the show, to finally get his free government gun. Because he's been talking
Mm.
about that for a while, and if they're going to subsidize your letter of marque by getting you some free guns, then you go. You're good to go. You got exactly what you wanted. Like all of these memes, President Trump is making memes real. That's what he's really doing. That's what he did the first 4 years he was in office, and we're just continuing with that pattern now.
Yeah, except this is like Metal Gear Solid, like
Yeah,
punish Trump.
exactly.
You're wearing the shirt even right now. This is this is this isn't the boss. This is Big Boss,
Yeah, no, this
right?
is
Like,
this is Trump is one of the fucking AIs on the servers that were running the war economy. That's what we're talking about right now. He's one glitch away from going scissors 69 like on TV.
um, DoD contracted spy plane crashes in Philippines. Oh,
Mm.
interesting. Uh, Amazon reverses 7% plunge. Okay, this is mostly stock market news. Yeah, I don't know. It's exciting times.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen like post reports where people are like, oh yeah, people in some areas there's like so scared of ICE, like the grocery store or Walmart's like empty now, and
And
like
it's like, oh wow, you
I
go
don't
and
know how much to believe that. Like they probably just went in the middle of the day and like wanted to make a viral post or something like that.
no.
Um,
What was that other post somebody made? It's like first they came for the illegal immigrants, and I wasn't an illegal immigrant, so I didn't say anything. And then they came for the visa holders, and I didn't have a visa. And then I went shopping, and it was a very pleasant experience.
well, like okay, going back to the Doge guys, like Redditors are like openly talking about like death threats against Doge
Mm.
employees, like um and like the DOJ and FBI are like opening up investigations into this stuff. And yeah, somebody was like, first they came for the Redditors, and I was like, make sure you get all the Redditors.
They're not even really people anyway, so it's not like you're really violating human rights.
Yeah, the Trump administration came up with some like biological like very weird definition of biological sex
Mm,
to define like, oh, the large reproductive cell and the small reproductive cell. And it's like they need to come up with like a similar definition that allows us to exclude redditors from human
hmm
um classification, but include dolphins. I think we
Yes.
should count dolphins as well.
Dolphins need to stay in.
Well,
Okay.
ceotins in general, whales,
hmm
maybe even uh dogs or wolves, I think.
Dogs, yes. Wolves, wolves. I don't know about wolves, but dogs, yes, and cats, probably.
Most apes.
Apes, yes, yes, most apes. Octopus, absolutely.
Yeah, but then we get to like Crisis
Yeah, but
video
I
game.
mean, then that way we shift our military industrial complex back to the Pacific because then we're island hopping again, chasing the squids until
True.
until the big squid robot rips up Manhattan. But at that point too, that's just another victory as far as I see it. Like, oh no, Manhattan got leveled by like cephalopod alien machines. Like, oh, mm,
It's acceptable losses.
this is acceptable losses. Like, really
It's
not
just a
that much of it.
con.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we got the Europa Clipper going out to the home world of the Cephs.
Oh,
So,
that's right. That's right.
um, in a few years, we will be. I mean, we're already invading their planet.
This is
So,
true. I wonder.
honestly, we've lived in relative peace since the days of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Mhm.
You know,
There
I
probably
haven't heard of
is.
any giant squid attacks lately.
There probably is something in U.S. AIDS where we were subsidizing cephalopods. I bet there is something in there like gender inclusivity for cephalopod schools or something like that. I'm sure it was there. We were trying to make the squids gay.
Um,
Ooh, hey, buddy.
there's grants, funding, search, search U.S. spending. Keywords, squid.
Fact checking this real quick. Ooh.
Department of Health and Human Services awarded $63 million to grants related to squid.
See? See?
RTX BBN Technologies got a $9.5 million grant. Total funding obligated. Transaction description was called squid.logx. Okay, so maybe this is like a way maybe the reason it came up so much is because like there's a transaction type called squid. Okay, let's look at cephalopods. So how do you spell cephalopods? God damn it.
Cephalopod. Cephalo, I think.
Okay,
Or cephalo.
I think I got it.
Okay.
Duke University got a $5 million grant to study cephalopods.
So there you have it, folks. We have been subsidizing the crisis aliens the entire time.
Basic and applied scientific research. To support and simulate basic naval operations. Wait.
Wait. Did we launch an offensive against? Is it already started?
This is Department of Defense. Wait, to support and stimulate basic and applied research technology at educational institutions, nonprofits, and other research organizations which have potential for superiority in the improvement of naval operations, train and motivate future researchers in science and engineering disciplines.
Does it say anything about funding super soldier suits that allow you to have maximum speed and maximum strength and blend in with the environment?
Arctic Mobile Observing System.
Maybe.
Principal investigator Craig Lee of University of Washington Applied Physics Laboratory. Fiscal year, Distributed Biological Observatory, Fisheries Oceanography, Maryland Central Center, awarded to recipients having eligibility designations, eligibility, use of assistance, applying. Oh my God, award procedure, compliance requirements, reports, audit, records, regulations. Okay, I can't find this what they were doing, but the Department of Defense is doing something for an applied physics person and biologists related to cephalopods in the Arctic. All right.
Hmm.
We just unearthed something big. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
This is serious. I okay. We should be screen sharing this shit because I'm not making it up.
Okay, hang on. Let's do this real quick. This'll top the show off. You're gonna see it right
All
here,
right.
folks.
So okay, where I came from was I searched for cephalopod. Duke University received $5 million from the Department of Defense for basic research. Dynamic camouflage in benthic and pelagic cephalopods, an interdisciplinary approach to crypsis basis on color reflection and bioluminescence. From the Department of Defense, they're developing active camouflage based on cephalopods.
It's happening. Crisis is real.
Crisis is real.
Crisis is real.
The total funding. This is $5 million in obligated, but the total funding was $13 million to develop active camouflage.
That's actually that's not bad funding wise, considering some of the black projects out there. 13 million. That's pretty hardy as far as budgets go. Like that's.
Oh my goodness. Okay, dude. If it only costs $13 million to get dynamic active camouflage on our soldiers, that's a bargain, man.
Active camo.
That was a cool ability in Crisis. I'm gonna be real. Maximum strength. Well, we went down that rabbit hole. Thank you for indulging me.
Of course.
Department of Defense is fucking funding shit from Crisis. We proved it.
We did it. So, folks, remember, if you live anywhere near New York City, I would not, because by Crisis 3, that was like a dome, like nothing lived there. You don't want that. You do not want that. What, ladies and gentlemen, I think for tonight, that'll do it. We covered everything we set out to cover. We did a little extra. And I'm sure the next time you see us again, there will be a lot more stupid and crazy shit for us to go over. Because it seems like... Oh, Death Chilada, thank you. Yes, Octo Camo from Metal Gear Solid 4. That also, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
But, yeah, because at the speed things are happening right now, like... Dude, I don't even know. Like, probably, this is the way this is going to work right now. We're going to get done with this, and tomorrow, some whack-ass shit like the Department of Education is finally going to get removed by executive order or something like that. And we're going to be like, fuck, okay. Now we got to wait till next week to cover that. And by the time we get to next week, we'll have all this other shit. And I'll be like, and what was there something else you're supposed to... Oh, right, the Department of Education doesn't exist anymore. We'll be having this exact conversation 1 week from now. I absolutely foresee this. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, mashallah. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope you all stay safe. We hope you all do not fall victim to ICE raids. Not that anybody here is undocumented. Pretty sure we're all natural-born Hyperborean citizens here, so I don't think anybody has to worry about that. So, good night, good luck, and as always, taxation is theft.